Heyo, Chris, let's do this. Upcoming crowdfunding games, week of January 23rd. What do you need to know? What are the top ones on my radar? And I'm going to have a couple of videos out on these ones this week as well. I will, actually. So we'll see how my thoughts compare to yours and, well, the general consensus on how well they fund. First up here, Earthborne Rangers is coming back already, slamming on the heels of their delivery. The hotness train is riding on them. And this is their take on sort of a Earth-friendly Earthborne Rangers LCG-style game. Sort of with your customizable open world LCG, if you will. Cooperative, set in the far future, you get to play as a ranger in a valley that you call home. Wilderness has been transformed by feats of science and technology to save the earth from destruction. And you're exploring it, building your deck as you go in this branching narrative campaign that has a main storyline, multiples of side storylines, but it is sort of this deck building LCG-esque combination that is, I mean, relatively well received right now. It's almost 1,000 ratings on Board Game Geek and an 8.7, so, you know, probably a little crowdfunding bias there as always, but people seem to like it. I've heard it's a little bit complicated in terms of the learning curve from that aspect. And again, it gives me sort of a Legacy of You, Marvel, Arkham, Lord of the Rings LCG vibe, only slightly more complex through the different, you know, thematic incorporation. And it's relatively self-contained with what they're offering. I believe there's one expansion on the original campaign, and this new expansion is going to be offered in the reprint campaign as well. The new expansion is going to be called Stewards of the Valley, and it's just adding a new background set, new specialty set, and basically giving more cards, essentially, as they say, opening up the creation and the variability in the game as a whole. The other question I have to say with all of these games is going to be, what's the price increase? You know, we just saw Masters of Eternia jack it up a little bit, but when these come around the second or third time, how does that change or how doesn't it change? So that'll be another interesting test as well from Earthborne Games to kind of show us what they've got in store. And again, my main thing is why this over something else? And so they did a really good job with the first campaign. People were very pleased with the aesthetic and it raised a ton of money. And so I'm anticipating that this one's going to do the same. And so we'll see in a couple days. Next up, we actually have a trio coming from Loodo Ninja Games. This is Clickport, Speedport, Battleport. And you're using, well, like port connections, like, you know, with computers, only you're doing it in 3 different ways. Clickport, you're using these internet cables to create patterns on the board, plugging, unplugging, plugging, unplugging, completing your pattern in basically a speed race to see who can do first. Battleport is a duel between 2 of them as you're trying to unplug your opponent's server before he unplugs yours. You have 2 different boards, 2 different playfields, 5 different cables, and you take turns playing 3 cards in order to manipulate the other person's cables, but also to, you know, draw new cards and beat your opponent to do so. Relatively straightforward again. The last one is Speedport, which is actually more of a dexterity game where all that matters is the speed. You have to create a pattern on your board using the cables. The fastest one wins. You get 4 cables, you make a pattern, you lay it out, and whoever ranges it shouts Speedport and wins the game. So that's what they're offering for Loodo Ninja. Again, a little bit of a lighter fare, but I should have a video out on one of them in a couple days. The other one that's getting all the rage right now is the next one from Arcus Games, actually more from the designer, and that's Shem Phillips from, well, Garfield Games. And so his game, Storm Raiders, is going to be racing, raiding, and salvaging across the Atlantis to become the greatest Storm Raider, trying to avoid the storms that are trying to cause you cataclysmic concern in the first place. It's got sort of a pick up and deliver set collection style manner with variable player powers in a Mad Max style setting. And you have 6 rounds of splintered travel that you're adding your prestige points in order to become the greatest as a whole. You're salvaging, you're fulfilling contracts, you're acquiring crew, upgrading your vehicles, and earning medals. Drafting dice, though, in order to use your tricks to take the time that's also needed to repair and upgrade your battered vehicles in the first place. That's going to be the question of, you know, pick up and deliver, Mad Max style. Do you like that? Are you looking more for a Thunder Road Vendetta, which is more battling without necessarily as much battling? So pick your poison in terms of that style, but that aesthetic is now becoming a little bit more of the rage as well. So we'll see what it offers and how people feel about it. And the next one I'm going to be covering as well is Etherium. And this is going to be cardboard boxes that are set up and then stored to allow for 6 tribes to mix and match their unique abilities to collect the ether as you do a season by season, which is actually your turn, in order to program your actions with the 7 different seasons that you're playing through to develop, attack, defend, or resource optimize in order to mitigate and produce your resources in the first place. Well, multiple victory conditions with multiple ways to earn victory points are going to be how you're going to be doing it. But the big system that they're using here is a programmed movement. So with a little bit of a 3D element, yeah, if you're looking for something a little bit different as a whole, this one might be piquing your interest as well. So again, I'll have a video shortly out as well in the next couple days on this one in addition. Now, last one up here we're going to be talking about is from Itten. You may remember Itten from other games like Crash Octopus, as well as Moonbase, which is the other abstract one that I kind of want to try, don't want to try because I've heard some mixed feelings about it. But we're talking about their other more dexterity-based game, and that is Tokyo Highway. Tokyo Highway is actually going to be coming back to us with, like, I think it's now the, like, kind of 4th expansion for this. This is Rainbow City. Basically bigger, better, and more scenery to go along with this. New cityscape, new buildings, new roads, new drivers, new landmarks, new missions, more strategy, more car types, more upgraded components to allow for extra grip on the roads, and more features are just going to make it a little bit everything else that you may have wanted out of it in the first place. So we'll see. I mean, Itten puts out a very solid product. The question is, with like some of their other ones, right? They're either for you or they're not for you. But with Itten, you're really going to get the best value with a lot of these other foreign, especially Eastern Asian games on crowdfunding. You're just not going to be able to pick them up at retail, whether that's this or any of the other ones that you may have seen on crowdfunding in the first place over the last couple of years. So they are definitely indie, and you're not going to be able to pick them up anywhere easier or even on the secondary market selling from previous backers. So that is the other aspect of things to consider. And again, the question on this last one, especially with this upgraded components overall, right, is going to be price point. Price point. And that's it for the crowdfunding of this week. January 30 is going to be the next Tuesday, and that's going to have a few more slightly bigger profile games as well. It's a little bit of smattering all over the end of the month here, and then we'll get into February, and we'll talk about that later as well. But, you know, again, I talked about this in the roundup yesterday. Should I throw a little news in here? Would that be more entertaining? Would you guys be more likely to watch this if I said upcoming games and news? Right? Because I know some people don't watch the upcoming ones because, you know, blah, 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 blah. And some people only want to watch the news, and some people don't want both. So, you know, alienating both crowd bases. I don't really know. I'm just sort of spitballing here as a nutshell. I got nothing else going on this weekend. I need to do those 2 videos for Etherium and the ports. And so that's going to be what I'm finishing up, and just kind of play some other stuff as a whole. So I've got a couple other things that I need to get played and reviewed, and just a couple other videos that I was filming, including finishing up filming for my top 10 of 2023. I swear I will have this one out by the end of the month. We'll see. I'm trying. I got a few last minute changes and thoughts, and, you know, I kind of want to do 20, kind of only want to do 10 because of filming. Just, I don't feel like filming that 20 games, you know. If I did, it'd be like 2 videos, and I don't want to do 2 videos on that. You would watch 2 videos of that? I don't know. We'll see. I got nothing else. Short video, short and sweet. Hopefully it was worthwhile. I don't know. Go play some games. Peace out. Have some fun. Hopefully you're not snowed in like I am. I got nothing else. Have a great freaking day. Stay classy.